Oh, now, in 1984, a little kid showed up on the amateur boxing circuit in South London. He was a precocious talent, fast hands, trick shots, crazy skipping, and in the ring, in the schoolboy championships, he was unbeatable, mesmerising. Experts still talk about his form. Fast forward to 1988, and the kid shows up on another radar. This time, he's 17 and he's in New York, living and training. He's picked for and goes to the 1988 Olympic Games in Seoul. He wins twice and loses a controversial decision. Fast forward a year or two, and the kid, now a man, arrives back in London, back at the Lynn in Walworth, and wins a domestic ABA title. Fast forward again to 1992, and he is picked for the GB team at the Barcelona Olympics. He wins, but is weight drained and then loses in his second fight. A year later, he turns pro. It's a volatile and always entertaining career. Tremendous highs and tremendous lows. Great fights, good wins, bad defeats. He ends Lloyd Huntington's career in the middle of it. He finally wins a version of the world title and fights for the last time in 2003. His record, 25 wins, 17 knockouts, 6 defeats. Never a dull moment, trust me. Well, he's back, and I grabbed him today, and I started by asking Adrian Dodson, who was known once as Adrian Carew, where he had been for the last 8 years.
I've been being a father, being an orphan myself, and never having a mom and dad, being a single dad is not the easiest thing. And I'm a father of 2 boys, age going to be 8 and 11 this year. So that takes precedence, and that was priority for me.
But there have been a couple of times in the last 4 or 5 years when you've been seriously looking at returning to the ring. Is that true?
Well, somewhat so and somewhat not. I mean, there's always, individuals that feel that, can we use your name to say that possibility we may use it for a show just to promote and hype something. But in reality, I've always kept in shape and always, doing my own thing in boxing because it's something that I've never really actually retired.
Oh, you never officially retired, even though it's been a long time. So what made you jump at prize fighters, super middleweights?
Well, the reality is it's a chance. It's an opportunity at the perfect time and whereby it's a little bit more stability in my personal life now. My boys are much older. And let's be honest, boxing don't, offer you the luxury of being a golf player. You only have a short shelf life. And, I'm 41 this year, end of September. So, hey, for me, as you know well, Steve, I mean, the rumor or the word, the saying goes around about Adrian Dodson underachieving from what he should have done. But for myself, it's never been about what people's interpretation. Because, in boxing, you always have professional experts that don't know horse manure about the sport.
That's the truth.
However, but for me personally, I have unfinished business. I feel like I've underachieved from the standard I set myself personally. And, we're living in a global society now in food and nutrition and everything that's available to maintain and your body sustained in a way that, I don't abuse myself. I look after myself. And I feel like with what's out there and with the so-called recognized champions or the best outstanding boxers in Glenn Johnson and Roy Jones and all, Anton Tarver, all these guys, it's, they're in the, early 40s, and I must kind of remind, some of your audience of the fact that this is nothing new. Only difference is that we have the advantages now. We have technology, we have food, nutrition, experts, conditioners, all these different specialists. Whereas guys like Sugar Ray Robinson, Jake LaMotta, Archie Moore, these guys fought into their late 40s, We actually only seen the best of actually, the great man, Mr. Robinson.
From this age on.
In his later years. Yeah. We've never actually seen him or have him documented on the film when he was undefeated in the first 80 fights.
That's true, and I think with Archie Moore, he didn't win the world title till he was, 38, Adrian? And he was probably 3 or 4 years older anyway.
As the New York version of Spanish goes, exactamundo.
Exactamundo. Now, there's a couple of things, Adrian. I've got to tell you, Prize Fight is a unique event. Have you actually been at ringside, and are you going to change your preparation for it? Because it's not in my opinion, training for Prize Fighter requires training for Prize Fight, not normal boxing training.
Well, Steve, I think you were present when my first actual personal appearance in Prize Fighter in Olympia last year. Oh,
at the light welters, of course. Yes, sorry.
Yes, I actually saw you there.
Yeah, and, I remember now.
And that was my first glimpse at the actual concept. But in true fashion, Steve, you're the last person I need to, explain to as a boxer about that, because in many ways you're a de facto boxer yourself. You've been around the game, God knows, donkey years, and you've seen it all. I mean, look, this is nothing more than, an international
tournament crammed into one evening.
Amateur, you understand?
Yeah,
and
of course I do.
You've seen it all. You've seen it all, Steve, yourself. And it's not like saying that you're doing this because you're a reporter or you're a journalist. You've actually been involved. Boxing yourself, sometimes stupidly get in the ring and box with boxers when you were younger, without telling them you're not actually the official boxer. So,
you're digging back in time now.
Well, I'm sure you can, look after yourself if you're forced to that way. Never mind, you're a super heavyweight now.
Sadly, that's true.
You used to look like a crackhead, Steve. You used to be a skinny dude.
with a lot of hair. I've got none. I've lost both of those things now.
Exactly. However, but the point is that, Steve, you know the deal. I mean, you've seen, international tournaments where it's all in one night, and this is nothing more for me than actual international tournament. And it's like, reminds me back of the old amateur days.
Absolutely.
It's all down to you. Your destiny is in your own hands.
Yeah.
And in my mind, look, I'm no spring chicken. You got a lot of these young guys coming up now. They're talented, and they would love to have my name on their record.
Absolutely.
And I just like to remind them, I know who I am, and maybe they can see who I am if they've never even heard of me. And for me, look, hey, if I can't beat somebody within 3 rounds, then I got no place boxing anymore.
And of course, there is the added incentive, and it's quite a big one, and it's an interesting one, certainly for us old timers.
I know where you're going with this, and you know the whole story behind it.
Of course I do. You and Robin Reed, 1992 Barcelona Olympics. You having a fight at a different weight, no box off ordered. Anger still there.
Exactamundo, as you said, the New York Spanish version of street version of Spanish. I mean, the original way of saying is exactamente, but we say exactamundo.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nobody who knows this story more so than yourself, Steve. I mean, like I said, I hate to keep repeating myself because you've been much of a family to most boxers. You've been involved in one aspect or another or aware of them. I don't think there's any boxer coming along, junior or senior, that he's not aware of. However,
there's not, thankfully.
You know the story of Robin Reed and myself.
Yes, I do.
There's absolutely nothing personally between myself and Robin Reed. I mean, I like him, he liked me. We were actually roommates in the Olympic qualifying tournament.
I remember.
It was myself, him, and Peter Richardson.
Yeah.
We were boxing because in 1992 that was the actual
introduced for the first time the qualification,
the qualifying tournament. And for the public who's listening, not aware of that, even if you're the best in the country, you cannot go to the Olympics anymore. You have to qualify yourself.
Indeed, that was Adrian Dodson talking to me earlier on. Now, before Adrian can fight in Prize Fighter, which will be shown live and exclusive on Skype, before he can fight in Prize Fighter, he's got to win a bout. The Prize Fighter's on the 23rd of March in Liverpool, but he's got to win a bout. So he's having a 4-round bout tomorrow night in Bedworth, near Coventry. And it's going to be at 8 o'clock. There's still tickets available for that show. Now, he was once known as Adrian Carew. He's an entertaining character, to say the least. Not everyone's cup of tea, but I tell you what, he brought a lot of excitement to us a few years ago. Now,